Hey there, golf lovers. Looking to step up your game? Let me tell you about Mollybox, the ultimate golf subscription box. Every month, Mollybox sends you a box packed with premium golf gear, accessories, and stylish apparel, all delivered right to your door. Imagine getting top-tier apparel and more, all handpicked just for you. With Mollybox, you'll stay ahead of the game and boost your performance. It's like having a personal caddy in a box. So why wait? Join the Mollybox family today. Head over to mollybox.com and use your limited time promo code ROGUE25, ROGUE, ROGUE 25 for 25% off your first box. That's mollybox.com.
Most bankers aren't ready to help you until after their third cup of coffee. But with Central National Bank's after-hours service, you don't have to wait for the bank lobby to open to get help. You can contact us from 6 to 8:30 in the morning or from 5 to 10 in the evening, and we'll connect you to a real, live, local person who can answer questions and fix problems 7 days a week. Bank different. Bank Central. Central National Bank. Member FDIC.
Caroline, you should tell them about the newest thing that Bloody Happy Hour is doing.
A Patreon.
It's a Patreon. What is that?
That means you're basically like a VIP member, and there's 2 different levels that you can, subscribe to, and you get some perks. You maybe get like merch a little earlier. You get
exclusive merch.
You could get first dibs on signing up for a live show. You get episodes with no commercials.
You get our video because our video is no longer available on YouTube. It is only on Patreon. And the most important to me is you get videos of our live shows. So if you are far away and you couldn't make our last live show, it will be on the website. We're going to record this future live show. It's going to be on Patreon, but also bonus episodes each month. You guys tell us all the time you want more episodes. This is a way for you to get more episodes. So you're going to get our basic Tuesday, Thursdays that we always put out, right? But if you're on a Patreon, you're VIP, you're going to get more.
I can't wait to talk about in detail some more stories because I always have a lot of details I want to go to. I can law-splain. I might read a book.
They just unsubscribed. This is also going to be the exclusive place that Dirty Chat is going to go to. So if that is breaking some of your hearts, just go ahead and subscribe now. In order to hear the full content, it's going to be Patreon. Where do they go again?
Patreon.com/BloodyHappyHour.
Don't forget to
stay aware,
stay alive,
and always be DT.
Hey y'all, I'm April.
And I'm Caroline.
And this
is your Bloody Happy Hour.
Caroline, are you ready for this?
This is your newest guilty pleasure.
It's the bloodiest part of your week.
Did we say something about it also being happy hour?
Show did.
Because we about to be sipping on some murder. Bloody Happy Hour.
This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
Hey y'all, this is April.
And this is Caroline.
Bloody Happy Hour here. Thirsty Thursday edition.
What you drinking?
You're
hydrating.
Water.
That's really I'm just going to be the only one that's off the rails, and I'm totally fine with that. With my vodka and my bloody cup.
I'm fired. And we have some guests today. Introduce yourselves, ladies.
I'm Christina.
I'm Erica.
Okay. Erica and Christina with Silent Witness Podcast.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell us about it.
Yes. What does that mean?
What does that mean? It's just a true crime cold case podcast.
Okay.
We focus mostly a lot on cold cases.
Mm-hmm.
Some true crime will get in there.
Okay.
As well.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're brand new.
Yeah, brand new. But the main focus is cold cases, and hopefully people will come forward. Maybe something we say or talk about triggers a memory, and And they'll get in touch with us or Crime Stoppers or whoever.
Yeah, I love it. Do y'all do like a call to action at the end of every, like, here, call this number?
Oh,
Here's
yeah.
the tip
Yes.
line. And,
Texas Rangers tip line, and Crime Stoppers for the county.
Yep.
okay.
Yeah. And she mentions it several times throughout.
Y'all doing all Texas ones or?
So far.
Okay. And
Yeah.
what's been one that's kind of stayed with you so far? One of your favorites? I say favorites, but you know what I mean.
Well,
Yeah.
I think an interesting one was the Shelley Watkins one that just
That's
finished,
me.
the 3-part series, just
Okay.
because it happened in Corsicana and it's not going to be solved because family doesn't want it solved.
Oh,
Yeah.
because somebody in the family did it?
The
Oh,
husband.
for sure.
Oh,
for sure.
Yeah,
And there's,
Shelley
we think there's like
Watkins.
some
Kind of like Barry
money.
Morphew. He doesn't care because
He's
he
very
got-
wealthy, the husband, and
Oh.
there's a lot of, there's
How did
a
she
cop
die?
involved, the next cop involved, there's
Oh,
gayness involved.
Oh.
And, well,
Well, we
All
do
the
that.
best.
There's like all the things.
yeah, it's pretty interesting that you have the DA that was terrible.
Small town stuff.
Athens, the Henderson County DA said, "Hey, we'll dismiss charges if you pay me this amount of money."
this sounds like the Carrie trial.
So
Wow. Wow.
yeah,
wow,
so
wow.
that's
a good.
That's
Okay,
me too.
Shelley Watkins. So we can find you on all the podcast platforms, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Have you
What?
had it? Wait, is there any that have like been solved since y'all? No.
No,
You're
it's
just-
so new.
yeah, we've
so
got what,
so new.
6. That's it.
Yeah.
6
Have been released
episodes.
5 or 6. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
We
what
have-
are y'all's background? Like, who has background and what, and how did this come about, and all the things?
Well, me.
Yeah.
For sure. You. Yeah, 100%.
I work in the field, in the criminal justice field. I worked as a court officer and a probation officer for over almost 25 years.
Oh wow.
And now I teach criminal justice. I have a master's degree in criminology. So
Ooh.
I'm along for the ride.
Yeah.
And wait, how did y'all like connect?
through Rogue.
Mike, Rogue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
They were like, oh, you and you.
I think so. They put out essentially a casting call
Yeah.
for anybody who would want to do a true crime pod. And so I was like, yeah, I want to. I want to. Like
Yeah.
I fall
They-
asleep watching cold case files. Like this
Yes.
is my thing. So
Yeah,
And then she did too.
they put it out on social media, and so I just responded, not thinking anything about it. And then they got in touch with me, and
Yeah.
here we are.
yep.
That was kind of how we did it.
Mm-hmm.
Except we knew each other, but
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
did it.
Yeah.
And then,
Whose idea was it?
well, she had a true crime book club before.
Yes, I have.
And then she always talked to me, and then I married a guy who was like Ted Bundy. So then she told me I married Ted Bundy, and I didn't know who Ted Bundy was because I just didn't really know anything about anything.
Sure.
And then she got contacted by them or vice versa and went and talked to Mike and then was like, do you want to do a podcast? And I was like, yeah, let's do a podcast. And so here we are.
There you go. See, like, why not? Let's go.
She's not married to him anymore.
No.
That comes
How
out
Ted
in
Bundy
the.
like was he?
Well, he didn't decapitate her and screw
Yeah,
her
no,
head.
I,
okay,
was,
good.
I
No
did
death.
not get murdered or no.
Well, Ted didn't murder his girlfriend either.
That's
true.
Yeah, yeah.
Or
He just
animal.
murdered lookalikes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's very
Creepy.
true.
Yeah.
Okay, but so every time we have guests, April, kind of got to ask them a few questions.
Yeah,
Mostly
ahead.
inappropriate. Would you like me to start?
Yes, please.
And either one can answer first, but like, what do you think when you see like an upside down pineapple? Does that mean anything to anybody?
No.
Oh,
I know where you're headed.
where?
But no.
Okay, where are we headed with that?
Well, trading spaces.
Trading
Switcheroo.
spaces. Isn't
Well,
that a
switcheroo.
show?
A little switcheroo.
Isn't that
Yeah.
a show where you trade your houses?
Yeah.
Or you trade spouses?
Like redecorate.
Mhm.
Yeah. But just a different trade.
Does that mean like swingers?
Well, isn't that what they go for?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
Am I
trading
being
spaces.
too vague?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes.
She knows exactly
It
what
took me
they
a minute,
mean.
but I know where you're headed.
Okay, that was the first question.
Yeah.
Upside down pineapples.
Okay.
There we go.
And she
You
didn't
had no
know, but
idea?
now you know.
No
So
idea.
upside down pineapples and apparently red mulch, which April had at one point
Red
in time.
mulch?
Red mulch. Red mulch.
And
These are
don't
the
go to
indicators,
Florida,
huh?
Don't go to Florida to the retirement home because they have loofahs, and that's also another
Yes.
signal.
Flamingos. Texas too.
Okay.
I think you're
no.
making shit up with flamingos.
Flamingos.
I've seen it on TikTok, which is basically CNN, multiple times.
Well, it's definitely not Pornhub because we are now blocked.
Just in the state
True.
of Texas.
I think it's spreading.
We had a guest on that was, her friend was going to Austin, and they were like, before you purchase a house, be careful of what neighborhood, because they have like these swinger districts in Austin. So she
Districts. Jeez.
So she ordered a book on how to detect
Sure, like
swinger, like all
identify.
the rules or something. Yeah. So when she went to these neighborhoods, she would be able to know like if this is like a swinger friendly neighborhood
Oh my
or not.
goodness.
So it was like the red mulch. It was the upside down pineapples. I've seen flamingos. I've even seen those little ugly, sorry if y'all have one. Those, I won't say ugly. Those stars.
No, I don't have a
Stars.
Those stars.
like a barn
those
star?
rustic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, not the
Shoot.
barn ones.
I'm like, I do have barn
but
stars.
like those, they're just, they don't have the circle around them.
You think
Okay.
Robin has a barn star?
I feel
Robin
like she has a
definitely
barn
has
star.
a barn
I
star.
feel like I need to drive around Woodway now and just be like, but then what about in Austin? Like, so I guess when you have that much money, that's just what you start to do. Like, when you have too much
I don't
money,
know.
go to
You
the
just
store.
go to, what you do is you go to HEB, you find the pineapple, and you put it upside down in the front of your car, and you just see what happens.
And that is how you meet other couples when you're in a new
area
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah. It means you like to
I guess
play.
I should tuck that away since that's kind of what I do in my work life.
She swings.
I help when she finds
That's
things.
basically that's what I heard in my ear.
You look for, now you'll see when you go to these neighborhoods.
Now I know.
Yeah, yeah. Love it.
Oh, wait.
So porn. How do you were
Were you ever
guys-
given porn as a child?
Yeah.
Debbie does Dallas.
Oh.
How
I found
old
my
were
dad's.
you?
I found
yes.
my dad's stash.
Uh-huh.
Classic.
Debbie does that. I mean, isn't that the
I don't
first
know.
ever?
I've heard of it. Yes.
Right. I don't think I've ever seen it.
It might have been the
I
first
don't
ever.
Like
remember.
naked in Dallas doing things? Or
I
is
know
she
Is it
that's
just
like
all
a
she
Dallas?
boys team?
Dallas.
She literally does Dallas.
Yeah, that's
How
that's
old
a
were
certain-
you?
I don't even remember. And I remember with a friend of mine too. You remember? This is going to age me. But when they had those naughty channels, they'd have the lines. You know, the TV,
Kinesex?
the static line.
Yes.
You know,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
scrambling it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And so there was this one that was every time things were happening, it would thunder. And so they called it thunder. And you would watch it through the
And
the
you try to, like,
scramble.
make it
And you
out?
try to see what is going on, which you couldn't
yeah.
see what's going on, but you
Yeah.
could hear it.
No
Yeah.
wonder, no wonder people have a hard time with sex. They can't even see. They're like, maybe this is
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Well, we had noticed that
It was just-
there was a lot of commonality. You probably know this with serial killers and early exposure to porn. So we
Oh,
always
fair.
like to ask that.
Because some people have been
It's
given
true.
magazines by their dads or whatever, or introduced to it, or they just thought it would be a fun thing to do. I don't know. I did find something. It was when I was cleaning and we found it, but it was like, we were kind of scared about it. We're like,
yes, yes.
No.
Okay, what's your question?
What, was that not my question?
Oh, is that it? I have one more that I just like to ask. It's more true crime like or crime related. If you were to fake die, if you were to die, okay, hypothetically, what fake investigator, like TV investigator, would you want to
Who would you want to tell your
investigate
story? Is that what you're asking?
No,
like-
investigate your
Like
death.
figure out who killed me.
Okay, I'll go to the next one.
Vic from oh, now I just left my mind the TV show.
Vic.
His name was Vic.
She's going to Google it.
Okay,
Go
what
ahead,
about
you
you?
answer while I look it up.
Monk.
Monk.
I feel like he doesn't let anything go.
Okay, yeah,
And,
yeah.
You know, I mean, they all solve everything by the end of their 30 or 60 minutes anyways, but
you would
yeah,
like
because he doesn't
I
take
like
anybody's
Monk.
crap and he just does
Okay,
what he wants to do and gets to it.
love it. So who would you
The
want?
Shield. Vic Mackey from The Shield.
Okay, from The Shield.
If you've ever watched
Now-
The Shield, it's great.
Who was the second part of that?
If you were to be murdered or whatever,
who would you want to to be the voice of your show? So if you were like on Dateline, do you want like Keith Morrison? I want him to narrate my story. Like I would want like Diane Sawyer or Keith Morrison to like narrate my story if I was murdered, like or dead or whatever. Who would you want?
Is Sam Jackson a choice? Because I think like
Sam-
any
like
narrator in
Samuel
the world. Yeah.
I was just thinking of some
voice. You're
Yeah.
thinking like his voice. Okay.
Yeah.
Samuel Jackson.
Howard Stern.
Howard Stern.
You do
It
love
would
him.
be real
I
vulgar.
love him.
You do.
I'm obsessed with Howard.
Love it.
Yeah.
We talked about him on our Lorena Bobbitt episode.
Oh yeah.
yes,
Back in the day
yeah.
when he was
When
normal.
he brought in
Or not, he never
John
was.
Bobbitt
Yeah, he
and
brought
made
He
him
brought him in an interview. Yeah.
Because he went into porn after he got his little
Yeah.
After he
jiggy cut
got
off.
fixed.
Love it, love it, love it. Okay, that's our questions. And then what
Oh,
we
see,
going
that
today?
wasn't bad.
Well, we're going to Utah.
Utah. Oh.
So
Oh,
there's your
Utah.
first red flag. Hope you'll learn from Utah because we got a lot of red flags. And this girl's name is Alexis, not Alexa, because sometimes I get it confused.
Okay.
with Alexis and Alexa. So this is the death of a young teenage girl named Alexis, and they're from like Ogden, Utah, which is near Salt Lake City, not too far from Salt Lake City.
Were they Mormon?
They weren't. It's not your typical Utah story.
Okay.
It's like really like completely opposite from your Utah story. But so
No
I kind
bagpiping.
of felt like it wasn't in Utah, but it is in Utah.
Okay.
So it's unfortunate. So I don't think she was necessarily bubbly either. So this is going against all of our norms.
All the rules.
Like all the rules. Like you have to be bubbly and then you get murdered. If you're not bubbly, you typically don't. But anyway, she had a lot of friends, whatever. She kind of grew up like emo, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
So she would have like, she would have her hair color different. She had those big gouge earrings. She had a bunch of piercings. She was 6. It doesn't, and I don't know anything really about her family. They didn't have anything about how she grew up or anything like that, like her young life. Just like as far as we know, it starts when she's 16. So she's born and then she's 16 all of a sudden. That's how it works. Yeah. So 2011, Alexis, who goes by Lexi, so I'll call her Lexi. She lived with her parents, 3 kids, Ogden, Utah, and it was a like mid-sized town, not too big. She was pretty close with her family. Her brother was her best friend. Long blonde hair, green eyes, good smile. She had bangs that were like side swipe bangs. I don't know. And she colored her hair different colors. Pretty outgoing, optimistic, all the things. So she, like I said, was a little emo and just always was kind of rebellious. In a way. And what I said, she had a lip piercing, and this was back when we had MySpace because it's 2011. So she had her Can you realize like when we did MySpace, like you had to you did coding and stuff. Did you ever do MySpace?
No.
MySpace was still around in 2011.
I don't know. When did it start?
That's amazing. I don't know.
That wasn't, I mean, I think it's yesterday, but it's really like
I think it was the end of
forever ago.
Was it still?
Yeah, I think
Wow, I
it
thought it
was. But I think it was like toward the
It had to have
end
been
of
because
it.
I remember in high school, I mean, I was on MySpace, but that was a long way for that. Anyway, so she was on the MySpace and then it went to Facebook and she was just not afraid to put who she was out there. She had pictures of herself and she was doing all the things. Very
love
confident and just doing her teenage stuff. She was trying to figure out where she fit into the world. Okay. But this kind of led her down to this difficult path because she started getting into some things that you probably shouldn't get into as a teenager, but you got to figure it out. So she started becoming friends with the wrong crowd who weren't the best influences. She and them would get in trouble at school because they're experimenting with drugs and alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
She ran away a few times, but she did let her parents know when she was running away.
Oh.
She's like, hey, I'm going to run away. I'm going to my friend's house. And I guess the parents like, okay, bye.
Okay.
So I
She
feel like,
announced it.
Right?
I feel like
the
attention.
I mean, maybe. I mean, I kind of think if you're doing all that stuff, like
Yeah.
all the drastic, and And what school allows you to have piercings like that in high school? Not Midway. Well, nowadays they might. I don't know. Back in the day, they didn't.
Yeah.
This is 2011, so that's still kind of a while back. Anyway, so she starts experiencing all these substances, and it's just typical teenage behavior, right? I mean,
my substances were like Bud Light and Zima and Bartles and James.
Facts.
Boone's,
yes.
Mad Dog 2020,
Yes.
once only. That's it.
Okay, mine was close to that with a little bit of weed mixed in, but nothing else like.
Okay, so
crazy.
what's her substances? All of the above? A, B, C, D, and E?
Okay, let's just say she had a friend named Brenna, and Brenna lived across the street from this family, and they were called the Millerbergs.
Oh,
That's a lot.
There's your red flag again. Okay, so now how many red flags we got? At least 3.
Utah, Millerberg.
Are the Millerbergs
And
Mormon?
gouges.
Bergs are usually Jewish.
Oh, that's okay.
Well, I don't know.
I don't know.
Not. This is Eric and Dia Millerberg. They were notorious in this neighborhood for selling
Swinging.
drugs.
Oh.
And they had a constant stream of people going in and out of their house, and they weren't being secretive at all. But the people that were coming in and out of their house were only teenagers. And these people were in their late 30s, almost in their 40s.
Okay.
Okay, so it's fine, right? It's fine.
Normal.
So
So kids.
Eric was like tatted up. He had like full sleeves all the way down his hands on both arms. He had neck tattoos, and he had one tiny little teardrop tattoo.
Oh, another red flag.
That's another red flag.
Not the sleeves, but the neck and the
but
teardrop.
even that it goes down your hands. I think
that
like the
hurts.
sleeves, but he was full on. He was bald, and he had a big old puffy beard.
Ooh.
Did he have
Sounds like
head
my type.
tattoos?
Okay, but guess what?
What?
What color was his beard hair?
Gray. Red.
Red.
Oh, yeah, my type.
Uh-oh.
She loves some redheaded.
Oh, you love
Love
a
a
ginger,
redhead.
huh?
Oh,
yes.
she basically is Ginger. That's her name. So, obviously, the teardrop tattoo, popular prison tattoo or whatever. It can have multiple meanings. And he was a big guy. So muscular. He's kind of like, so he's like an intimidating looking guy, kind of scary. And you'd be like, whoa, I think if I would just be like, okay, you obviously have some background. So both Dia and Eric looked, most of the time they were strung out. Their house was a mess. The lawn was never mowed. And people always saw them, the two of them, like always like yelling at each other, screaming at each other, like I guess in the neighborhood. And one neighbor said that he remembered Eric threatening to hit Dia with a metal pipe because she was probably acting up.
Listen, meth.
Got to keep them
Meth
in
does
order.
that to
You
you.
gotta keep them in line.
Yeah.
I mean,
And pipe's the best thing.
it's just, yeah, like it's fine. You can recover. So they would drive recklessly up and down the road, and they were always screaming and fighting, and they had clearly a lot of domestic issues. They had the cops called on them multiple times, but then the cops seemed to just look the other way, probably because that's where they were getting their drugs. But the neighbors were like, we're not getting involved in this situation. This is like real messy. We're just going to let these people be and go do whatever they're going to do because I don't even know what
And
to do
this
about
is
it.
Brenna's mom and daddy?
No, it's Brenna's neighbors.
Okay.
So that's why, that's how she knew who they were.
And they don't have kids?
Oh, just wait.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
I do that all the time.
Yes.
Sorry.
No, it's good though. I do that. I ask the questions like that. Yeah. So, their biggest customer base were teenagers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So, yes, they're in their late 30s and constantly with teenagers. They're throwing parties and distributing hard drugs, which was basically they're pushing these products on these kids like predators do. Yeah. But that's their business. I mean, so you're just going to do
They gotta
it,
make
I
their money.
guess.
Entrepreneurs.
They are entrepreneurs.
That's right.
I mean, you could.
It's hard to find a job.
It really is.
Especially in 2011 it was.
Yeah. I mean, now you can run for president if you're.
That's
felony,
true. You can run
Especially
for
if you're a
president.
felon.
You can.
Yeah. If you
So,
are basically
convictions don't
dead, you
matter.
can run for president. And if you're a felon, you can run for president. What's wrong? It's fine. So
Just need to be guided through a room. You'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah. So friend Brenna, tells Lexi about Eric and Dia and is like, hey, you're never going to guess who my neighbors are. They sell drugs and they throw parties. And Lexi's like, oh my God, bet, let's go. And so then they're like, yeah, we're going to be the biggest customers. So then they go and Lexi goes over there and first she's just buying weed and alcohol. Like that's where
it starts.
Yeah. I mean, that's just like, okay, it's fine from time to time. But then she started spending more and more time with the couple. At their house, and the neighbors said they saw Lexi over there all the time.
Lexi.
In spring 2011, Lexi and Dia, which was the wifey, they started becoming besties.
Oh, they're about to be some
They're about to
pineapples
be
turning over.
scissor sisters.
Scissor sisters. Oh my
Pretty
goodness.
Sure. So they would smoke weed, they would drink. Lexi would sometimes help take care of the kids because, yes, they had 2 kids.
Oh.
Shocker.
A 9-month-old and a 6-year-old.
No.
Gotta have some crack babies.
I mean, so there's 2 small children in this house where these people are selling drugs and going in and out and having these parties and having teenagers. I mean, so it's normal stuff. And then eventually Dia was like, hey, Lexi, do you want to like babysit? And she's like, yeah, obviously I do. And this way, Dia and Eric could go out and do whatever they needed to do. And they had somebody watching the kids. They were being responsible.
I was going to say, at least she looked for a babysitter.
I know.
Steps were taken.
Yeah, they needed to have private time and all the stuff. So she babysat for them a few times. And then it was September 2011 where they're like, hey, can you babysit one evening so we can go out and get decorations for daughter's upcoming birthday party? And Lexi's like, yeah. So then on September 10th, she went over there to the Millerbergs. And throughout the night, she was texting her mom. Her mom's name is Dawn. Mama Dawn is what we're calling her. And everything seemed normal. She's just like, yeah, I'm over here and babysitting and it's fine. But at one point, Lexi told her mom that Eric and Dia had come home to drop some stuff off, but then they were actually leaving again to continue their date night. So they left again. And that was around 11:30 is whenever she texted Mama and was telling her, I'm actually going to have to stay a little bit later because they're going back out, blah, blah, blah. So Mom's like, well, why don't you just go ahead and stay the night there or just at least stay, just like, you know, because I guess, did you ever babysit when you were?
Yeah, and I would just spend the night.
And sometimes you would spend the night or you just go to sleep and
late.
then wait till they get back and then whatever, either way. So Mom was like, oh, it's fine. Just stay there and stay the night.
This was the last text.
Mom didn't.
Yeah,
sure was. So 11:30. Yep. So the next morning, there's no Lexi. And so Mom was like, well, I need to, where you at, girl? So she like starts sending her messages, texting, calling, no response. After about the 10th message that she did not get a response from, she figured that maybe she should maybe try to go over there or maybe call some friends. You know, what you gonna do? Go find your kid, right?
Yes.
So no replies. She ends up going over to the Millerbergs' house, see what's going on. Dia answers the door. And this was the first, no. She had met Dia before. Eric answers the door.
Okay.
With all his tattoos and all his bald head and all his big beard and all his things and all his teardrop pierced. Tattoo. So she had never seen this guy and she's like startled. Like, oh shit.
It's a little scary.
This guy?
She must don't love redheads like I do.
But he didn't even have red hair on his head. He was bald on his head at the time.
Okay.
I know he did have the beard, but it was just a little like, she was just taken aback. She just was like, oh my God, this guy's kind of scary. Like he's tall, muscular, like bigger guy.
She's
and
probably like,
tattoos
why was I
everywhere.
letting my kid go over here?
Exactly.
Right.
So then Mama was like questioning them. She's like, okay, where's Lexi? And they're like, well, we don't know. She left whenever we got home at 11:30. And Mom's like, no, she texted me telling me that y'all had come home and dropped something off and then y'all left. And so she had to stay later. And they're like, nope, she left. Sorry.
Which one is it?
Yeah. So then apparently they were, the what are their names? The Millerbergs. The Millerbergs were like, well, she was texting this guy all night, so I think that she went to go meet up with this guy. And so then mom's like, okay, well, so she calls or texts the guy, and the guy's like, yeah, we were texting all night, but I never saw her. We never met up. Like we were just texting. Like nothing happened. And so nothing comes from that. And he said he had not seen her all day and that he knew that she was over there babysitting. So he's nothing. He's done nothing. So mom was like, okay, I'm going to call the police.
Do it.
So she does. She calls the police and she was like, maybe Lexi ran away because she did run away that one time before, but then she did tell me that she ran away. So maybe she didn't run away, but the cops, of course, are treating it as a runaway. As they would. So they start to do that, and then eventually it's like there's nothing that's happening, and they start doing all the things. They're doing press conferences, they're doing candlelight vigils, they're doing flyers. They're like, where is Alexi? And they can't, nothing ever happens. The authorities finally start looking into it a little bit more after a few weeks. They're like, maybe she didn't disappear. I mean, maybe she didn't run away and she is actually missing, and there was some illegal activity that was going on. Utah. Police were trying to talk to some of her friends, but they were pretty hesitant because they were also doing drugs, maybe not at the Millerbergs' house. But, you know, when you're that age, you don't really want to insert yourself into something and admit that you've done the drugs that are illegal that you're not allowed to do. So then that's kind of like where they're hesitant to say anything at all. So that was kind of a hurdle. Yeah. You know? Yeah. Which, I mean, I totally get that. Like, I wouldn't want to be like, yeah, I've been smoking weed and doing it.
I offer them all the time.
All the things. Yeah, we're good. No. So they weren't really helpful to the authorities. And so that's when they started to get the community to rally together to do all the things and flyers and posted everything. So weeks go by, no leads, but then they did start to suspect. They're like, okay, maybe something really bad, like sinister, happened to her because you think?
I hate that it takes weeks for people to think that.
Well, Mama had a gut feeling, and she's like, I don't think she's alive anymore.
Oh, Mama knows.
And she's like, it just intensified when she ran into Dia Millerberg in the grocery store. Because Dia was like, oh my God, hey girl, how you doing? What's going on? What's the latest? Like, she's acting like nothing happened. She did not mention anything about Lexi, ask her any questions. She's just over here getting her pineapples and getting her watermelon. I don't know what she's getting, but that's what I think she might be getting. And she just acted like everything was totally fine. And Mama Dawn was like, something ain't right. This is not acceptable. This is a little sus, and I don't know what's happening. She felt more and more skeptical about these Millerbergs. Okay. So she was not the only one that, like, police also were onto the Millerbergs. They were all starting to figure it out because they be smart. So they've questioned the Millerbergs multiple times, and now they go and they question Eric in particular because they're like, there's something a little off about him. And he would get very defensive during these police interviews, and he kept saying, what did he tell police? He said that he's like, I'm not Lexi's father, so why should I know where she is? And she's 16 years old. She can do whatever she wants. So if she wants to run away, she can run away. Let her run away.
There's your red flag. He should be being helpful if he was innocent.
Yeah, it's 0% help.
It's their babysitter that used to help you with the kids.
But I don't care. It's not my fault. It's not my kid.
Yeah, that's ugly.
Zero compassion.
Then Lexi's friend, Brenna, decided that she was going to come forward and give the police some more information.
Oh, Brenna.
About Lexi's relationship with the Millerbergs. So Brenna said that Lexi got more than just weed and alcohol from Eric and Dia. She said they gave her meth, heroin, Xanax, and even paid her in drugs in exchange for babysitting their kids.
Overdose.
That Brenna said that Lexi was a pretty frequent user of the drugs too, and that Eric, he's such a good guy. He taught her how to smoke meth out of a light bulb.
Oh,
And creative.
okay. Look at
Wow.
that.
Just
MacGyver.
love that. I mean,
Jeez.
smoking meth out of a light bulb. That is like some pretty good stuff right there. I'm just saying. So police were like not expecting Brenna
Love that.
to
Well,
say all this.
good job, Brenna. I guess.
But not
Kinda. Why'd you
only.
wait?
Not only. But wait, there's more. Not only did Eric and Dia sell Lexi drugs,
Oh.
but they also requested to have a threesome with her.
There it is.
Yes, they are in their late 30s and they are requesting threesomes with a teenager. So, I mean, it's fine because you know what? In Utah, the technical age of legal consent is 16.
It is. I forgot.
Oh.
It is. I think we covered that in another story.
We did, but listen, if you're
It should not be.
No,
No.
you can you can't even buy cigarettes, can you?
No.
And you can't even buy
You
alcohol.
can't even buy 18 anymore. But you can
21
screw.
now.
God, but like,
21 to buy.
but
you
you
can
can
be-
about that. It's like the age gap that's got me.
Yeah.
Well, it's just a child
Gross.
predator grooming, feeding her the drugs, and
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure.
Exactly.
I thought there was going to be
what he's
like
doing is
a
grooming her.
trafficking term.
Well, then I was like, is meth and heroin like a sexual drug? Like, does it make you know?
no, meth
Like
is an
Molly or
upper, and it makes you,
yeah,
up high,
and
and heroin's a downer. So heroin, you're gonna be
You're
almost
like zombie.
comatose.
Yeah, that's why you see all those people in LA and they're like
Uh-huh.
looking like zombie walking because they just have like heroin. But meth, I guess, would be like Adderall's a
upper
yeah,
Yeah.
cocaine,
basically
meth, but meth is like
and like energy and like
Yeah.
clean house.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
dark because they're smoking meth out of their light bulbs, but it's clean.
It's true.
Yeah.
It is light bulb. You think it'll be a little light, but yeah. So yeah,
Ooh, I need a meth
16-year-old
addict to come clean my
doesn't
house.
really have the capacity. So they're probably gonna steal your money. Is what they're gonna
I
do.
mean,
Yeah.
you'll be clean. No.
So they were selling Lexi these hard drugs, who most likely she was. This is what you just goes to what you said. Like she can't be in her right state of mind and she's on these drugs, but they are pushing them on her. Which grooming, as I said,
Right.
aka grooming. They're feeding these drugs to these kids and pumping them with drugs and stuff, acting like, hey, this is a cool house, this is a party house, just come out here, just come hang out, come spend the night. Like, it's fine. Babysit the kids, take a hit of this, do this, smoke this, inject this. It's totally fine. This is normal. This is just what we do. Yeah, it's by the way, you're pretty, come into the bedroom with us. Just goes with it. Yeah, no. So by the time Lexi had disappeared, Brenna said that Lexi had been going to Eric and Dia's house at least 2 to 3 times a week, not just for drugs, but now for sex, and sometimes she would even meet up with them at hotels. I don't know. I guess they want to change the scenery.
Change the scenery.
Yeah, and
No, they were
Brenna
getting
said that
paid for her body.
Yeah, Brenna said she suspected Eric as soon as Lexi disappeared. She suspected him right away.
Girl.
Brenna?
Yeah, but she was like kind of scared to say anything because she like did some of the drugs too, I think. 'Cause she had been to the house, obviously.
And if the girl just ran away, she probably didn't want to tell all her business.
That's
well, she was probably also scared of the dude too.
Yeah, that's true.
that's true.
Yeah. So, since Brenna had not heard from Lexi either, she actually went over to Eric and she confronted him and she told Eric Eric told her he did not hurt Lexi and that he had nothing to do with the disappearance. He would never lay a finger on her, but this time he went on like saying like Lexi, she's nowhere to be found. I don't know where she is. I had nothing to do with it, and just like on and on and on. Same story, same thing. But once again, she's like, no, this is not right. So it turns out that Eric was never really a good guy, which I never thought he was in the first place. He had been in and out of prison from 1997 to 2006. He had a rap sheet a mile long. He had been arrested for things like burglary, unlawful discharge of a firearm, failure to stop at the command of a police officer, on and on and on. He had a checkered past, to say the least. And he was also a member of a white supremacist gang called the Silent Aryan Warriors.
W. I've never heard of that
So
one.
is this close to Delphi? Like, because, they have their white supremacy group, and they're trying to frame Richard Allen,
Wow.
That's what I think, at least. So, yeah. I mean, he's got all the qualities of your number one husband to marry. So.
Right? I mean, but he's redhead.
Yeah.
Can we put one thing on the advantage
You need to look
list?
up Eric, Westerfield? I already forgot the name again. Morehouse?
Millerberg.
Look up Eric Millerberg.
Morehouse.
And you'll see what he looked like when he went to prison and what he looked like when he went to trial, because it's like literally a different person.
Buffed?
Oh, they clean him up for trial.
Did you Google?
But sometimes they don't.
No, but
they do. They'll refuse, like Daryl Brooks.
Oh, like
But-
say, no, I don't want it.
or like with the face tat, the Wade Wilson who just was sentenced for killing 2 girls, and he had all these face tattoos. They offered him makeup to cover the tats, and he said no.
Yeah.
So as you
yeah,
look that
he's
up
not
and you
cute.
check it out,
He's
yeah,
not.
it turns out,
He's kind of like creepy. He's got some
He's scary.
Ted Bundy glasses that he's rocking.
multiple tattoos affiliated. Oh, he had multiple tattoos that were affiliated with his gang group. And you want to know his nickname that he was in the group, April? Because it was Rooster, because of his red hair. So there was at this point, no indication that she had run away. Her friends hadn't seen her. Her family hadn't heard from her. The last people who had seen her was this drug-dealing white supremacist couple who was grooming and feeding the girl drugs in exchange for sex, allegedly. So investigators finally accepted that they were no longer looking for a runaway. Lord, now we're October 7th, so almost a month. It's after she disappeared, both Dia and Eric were arrested. But it was not for Lexi's disappearance. Dia was also a nurse.
Oh my God, there's the red flag.
There's the red flag again. Because she was arrested for prescription fraud.
I mean,
And Eric was on probation for credit card fraud, an indictment from 2010, and he failed to pass a drug test where she tested positive for Oxycontin and for heroin, and he claimed that he needed the drugs because he was in pain from surgery.
hey.
Okay. So, I mean, it's fine.
Whatever gets you
Ultimately,
through.
he was sent to prison for 5 years for violating his probation. Okay, great. So, that was on the 7th. Whatever. That's
It's still nothing about selling drugs or anything. Dealing
Right?
drugs.
Or the teenagers in their house that they're giving drugs to.
so that was his past. So then then October 9th. So this all happened September 10th and 11th. Now we're on October 9th.
Okay.
Police received a warrant to search the Millerbergs' house, and they didn't say what they're looking for, but they were just seen by neighbors of bringing multiple bags in and out of the house. You know, the whole thing. So now we got snitches coming in. Because, he in a gang, I guess, because he got gang members coming up, and they be snitching, and they get stitches. So they were not getting any closer to anything, but then the fellow gang members of Eric's came forward. Eric Peanut Smith. He go by Peanut. He said that Eric contacted Peanut on the night of Lexi's disappearance, saying that he's like, hey, Eric told me to come to his house, to bring a car, and to not ask any questions. But Peanut did not go to Eric's house that night, and he went there on Monday, September 12th, so the very next day. And when Peanut arrived to the house, Eric told him, hey, bro, I need your help moving a body.
Ooh.
And that Lexi had overdosed at their house on the night of September 10th, and that he and Dia dumped her body in the woods right off the highway. And Peanut asked Eric, why did he not call the police? And Eric was like, I ain't going back to prison. And that Dia was also,
Stupid logic.
and Dia was worried about losing the kids. So
Well,
obviously they got to go throw the body away.
Yeah. So
Right.
that's-
Logic.
Yeah.
So Eric was also worried that Lexi's body was not deep enough in the forest. Not deep enough, and that somebody would find her. And so Peanut and Eric drove out to the area where Lexi's body was dumped off I-84 near Weber River, and her body was behind some foliage, but not hidden very well. Not hidden very well at all. So then they decided to like move the body, and they like dig a little bit further so they'd have more of a grave. Yeah, like at least put some work into it, okay?
Please.
But it's a little too rocky. Too rocky. It's unfortunate. So they just placed her body in a trash bag and left. There's good people out there, good people. So then he's like, screw you, Peanut. I'm going to go gang member number 2.
Oh.
Yeah, I need somebody else to help me because you did not do a good enough job. So gang member number 2, he tried to go and talk to Eric, or Eric called gang member number 2, but gang member number 2 went to the police.
Good job.
Okay, number 2.
Yeah, number 2. And
number 2 said he really wasn't going
and
back
he
to prison.
said that Eric, he did not. He said Eric told him what happened, and he was like, I refused to help him, and I did not want to get involved with this crime of a teenage girl, and so that's why gang member number 2 went straight to his attorney.
Good job.
And attorney went to police. So gang member number 2, give it up for gang member number 2.
The one person with some sense in this story.
So finally on October 18th, 5 weeks after Lexi disappeared, Peanut eventually took the investigators to where Lexi's body was dumped. So Peanut came through.
Yeah.
He had a guilty conscience. He
probably made a deal.
Probably got something.
He did. And they found a horrifying body of a teenage girl folded in the fetal position, partially stuffed in a trash bag, and the body was so badly decomposed that they could hardly identify if it was her or not. However, her neon-colored toenail polish, her jewelry, and her jawline, I'm telling you, there's a thing about a jawline, made all the officers think this was Lexi, and they had been looking for her for a month now, and they had seen so many photos, and they knew what she looked like, and so they just knew it was her. 4 days later, October 22nd, fingerprints and dental records were used to identify the body, and the police confirmed that it was Lexi, and it was officially announced that Dia and Eric were the number 1 suspects in the case. Okay. So we're getting there. We are getting there.
Still not arrested.
Lexi's body was sent to the medical examiner's office to receive the autopsy by the autopsist, and they were now treating this as a homicide. Her autopsy
I think that Dia sent that last text to Mom.
Ooh.
To set up the whole story of, it looked like, what's the girl's name? Rachel?
Brenna?
Alexis?
Lexi?
Was going
We're real good with names. We got to make up names as we go.
To make it seem like Alexi was being sneaky, like sneaking out. Oh, I'm going to stay because they're going back out. But then when they showed up to the house, they were like, no, she left at 11:30.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. But the autopsy came back, and the autopsist came through. And she said that it came back and it showed that Lexi had seven times the lethal dose of methamphetamine in her system, along with other drugs like heroin. Medical examiner said that Lexi had taken these drugs on that night of September 10th, and that she likely died hours later on the 11th. So Eric, was talking, wasn't talking at all he was acting completely surprised when he found out. He was like, wow, he genuinely thought that she ran away.
A businessman and an Oscar winner.
This whole time, I thought she just ran away. I mean, oh my God. But Dia was not about to put her life on the line for old Eric.
Okay.
And she ended up telling investigators everything.
She
all
had
the
kids
things
taken away.
She said she picked up Lexi on the 10th. Originally, they planned to have Lexi come babysit while they went out and go do things for the kid's birthday party, but they ended up skipping that altogether. They hung out with Lexi instead. One of Lexi's friends came over for a while, too, because that friend wanted to buy $100 worth of pills.
Damn,
and weed from Dia.
All this money.
I don't know. That's what I'm wondering. Dia said they had been hanging out the whole time with Lexi. A lot. They had met in the spring of 2011, saying that was the first time that Lexi had come over there to buy the weed. And but then they just kind of got close over the summer, and she just started requesting harder and harder drugs. I mean, okay, so she wanted the couple, Dia and Eric, the Willingbergs, whatever. I can't think of the name. Millerbergs. I'm dumb. She wanted them to teach her how to do all these hard drugs. Like, how do you take meth? How do you take heroin? Like, show me and do it. Let's use light bulbs.
What
Great.
a great mentor.
Right. So Dia also claimed that in August, Lexi asked if she could have sex with Dia and
It
Eric.
was her idea.
Yeah,
Totally.
so it's her idea.
Yeah.
She wanted to do the drugs and she wanted to have the sex. Okay? So Dia was like, yeah, they agreed, and the three of them started, but I mean, I'm pretty sure that's assault, and I'm pretty sure she can't really decide if that's what she wants to do or not because she's still 16. So the night of September 10th, which is when all this stuff happened. This is still Dia telling the police what happened. The kids were put to bed, and then Eric asked if Dia and Lexi, if they wanted to get high, and they said yes. So Eric prepared 3 syringes of H, which is heroin. Dia injected herself in the bathroom while Eric injected himself and Lexi. And then apparently while they were high, Dia and Lexi drove 30 minutes to a Walgreens. I mean, because obviously they needed to get some Walgreens. They were seen on security footage at 10:20 walking into the store, filling a prescription for painkillers.
Oh, gosh. I wonder where they got that
probably
script.
wrote that fake prescription again. They left the store. They drove around for a little bit. They purchased a little bit more drugs at some other place. They did another drug purchase. And then they headed back to the house. They got back to the house around midnight, and Eric was like, hey, I have like 3 more syringes prepared for us, like meth syringes. Like, let's do it. Yeah, like, because it's normal. Once again, Dia injected herself. Then she watched Eric inject Lexi in the neck.
Oh.
And he injected himself in the neck.
I thought you smoked.
Which isn't too common to inject yourselves with meth in the neck. And it's usually no, it's not common because it's usually done in your veins. But then I guess when your tracks run out or whatever the thing, I don't know the lingo, but whenever your like arms are ruined and you can't use anymore, I know you do it. People do it between their toes.
You could do it in the neck. You can do it anywhere there's a
vein.
I mean, I wonder if that's
big
faster.
vein right there.
Like,
I think it, yes. Or sometimes you even put it in a syringe and you stick it up your butt, and then that's vascular as well.
Oh.
I don't have an experience. I don't have an experience with that. I just know some. But that's another story for another day. It's Dirty Chad podcast. So yeah, usually done, and it's a last ditch effort to get the drug to hit you faster and more intense.
But you just took a downer, so I guess they want to fill up.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe because that's now they're all 3 there. They just shot up, so now it's time to get your threesome on.
Oh, so they will need energy for the threesome.
yes.
However,
Oh.
when you are that fucked up, you cannot perform.
I was wondering if he
Your
might need a little
performance
blue
is
pill.
lacking. You gotta have it ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna work.
Limpy limp.
Yeah, you just a little limpy limp. So Dia was like, she actually didn't know why they were in, like Eric had injected them in the neck, because she was like, I mean, Lexi seemed initially fine. She said that it wasn't the highest that she'd ever been, and that this is whenever she asked the couple to have sex with her. But while they were trying to have sex, they had to stop because it was all too high. It was all too high.
Goodness.
So Eric then prepared
my
3
goodness.
more syringes.
Oh.
And he injected Lexi again because why not? I mean, pretty soon after that shot, that's after the 3rd injection. Lexi started saying that she was cold. She started shaking. She's disoriented. She's panicking because obviously that was way too much that she had, and she was having a bad reaction. So Dia was like, okay, let me prepare a warm bath for her. I don't know why you would put somebody who is having an overdose or whatever in a bath where they could like drown.
And she's a nurse, right? And this is her first.
But she doesn't even drown. But I just didn't even think that was even a normal thing to do. So she prepared this warm bath for her. And Lexi sat in the bath for about 45 minutes. And, you know, she went to check on her, and she was still cold. So she left her in the warm bath. They went out and they, you know, smoked a cigarette.
I was going to say, if they do another drug.
She came back. She took her out of the bath, wrapped her in a blanket, lied her on the bed. Because now she's warming her up on the bed.
Yeah.
Okay. And then 30 minutes later, she's like, okay, she's fine. She's just taking a nap. She came back 30 minutes later, and she's like, oh, no, she's unresponsive.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, no shit, you dumb crackhead. Yeah, she's unresponsive. So then she's like not breathing. There's mucus coming out of her mouth, clearly. And you're a nurse, bitch. So they tried reviving her, doing CPR. It didn't work. They panicked. Eric was like, I can't go back to prison. I can't go back to prison. Dia's like, I can't lose the kids. We obviously got to take her to the dumpster or wherever they took her. So they talked about calling the police. Eric refused. So Dia gets Lexi dressed, puts her body in a trunk, like in an actual trunk, like a carrying trunk.
Oh, like a trunk.
Yeah. And they put that trunk in the trunk. So they'd be trunking. Okay, so they put the trunk in the trunk. They leave the house. They take the baby, but they leave the 6-year-old at home because 6-year-old is fine.
Clearly.
It's fine. It's no big deal.
You can chill.
Yeah. So they drive all around town looking for a place to hide the body, and they eventually decide they're going to put it on this remote area near I-84, the spot where they dug the shallow hole. They put Lexi's body in the grave. They covered it with a blanket. They drove around town until they found another random dumpster. That's where they threw Lexi's purse and the trunk that she was in. They threw that in the dumpster too. Hey, I'm gonna find this big ass trunk.
Yeah.
At least burn it or something. I don't know.
Like they did Vanessa Guillen's trunk.
So they went to another dumpster, which is what they tore the carpet out of their car. I guess the trunk, to put it in the dumpster to get rid of any evidence that might have been left behind.
Hey, they were meth.
I mean,
them
okay.
thinking.
They were
thinking.
Very hyper focused.
But then Eric even sold the car.
Listen,
He
covering
smart.
all the bases.
He was like, I am
smart
getting
guy.
away with the perfect crime.
But nothing in the house.
No, I got to keep all my drugs. I'm going to get rid of the body and all the evidence, but I'm keeping drugs. So Dia finally comes forward, and she confessed to putting all the blame on Eric.
Yeah,
So nice of her. And
Even
that
doing the injections.
he
I
was
like
the
how
one
she-
who
Yeah.
injected
Yeah.
Lexi. He was the one who gave her the drugs. He was the one who wanted all the sex with her. He was the one. He was the one. He was the one. All the things. And finally, in early 2012, Eric and Dia were officially charged with Lexi's death. I don't know why it took so long.
Good gracious.
But they were officially charged with, Dia was charged with desecrating a body, obstructing justice, and illegally obtaining drugs. Eric was charged with what's called child physical assault homicide. He was also charged with obstruction of justice, unlawful sexual activity with a minor. I don't know why she
why
didn't get
wasn't
that.
she?
I don't know. Maybe because she came forward and told them all the things. Maybe she got like that. Some of those charges were dropped. And he also got charged with abuse and desecration of a human body. Dia agreed to testify against Eric when it went to trial. She took a plea deal. That's why she getting into things. Posted bail. She went to stay with her family in Wyoming while she was on bail and while she awaited trial. Trying to regain the custody of her kids. She filed for divorce. And when they found Eric when Eric found out that Dia was going to or had already like ratted him out or was going to testify against him, he completely flipped out and contacted one of his gang members and was like, "Go kill Dia! You go kill that bitch!" Yeah, he don't care. But they were like, "No, bro, we ain't doing that." No, they refused. So Eric also changed his tattoo that said Dia on his neck to death. He's a rebel.
Yes.
So petty.
He is a rebel. So trial was set to start in 2014, but in July 2013, Eric was attacked in prison.
Shocker.
He was stabbed over 25 times,
Ooh,
but they were
shanked him.
all little sticky.
Sometimes,
Like the pokey wounds.
sometimes shanks aren't very big. So.
Yeah. So he
had
got
to do a whole bunch
shanked
of times.
25 times. Superficial. He was taken to treatment. He was fine. He was back in his cell in 24 hours. Just another day on the lot. I don't know. By the time trial started in 2014, his appearance had drastically changed.
Yeah.
He had shaved his beard. He actually had hair on his head. He grew hair. He was wearing glasses. He had a suit on, so most of his tattoos were all covered up. He pleaded not guilty. And, of course, his defense team was trying to argue that Dia was the one who injected Lexi and that she was the one who ultimately caused her death.
Oh.
I feel like she should have been held to a higher standard as a nurse.
Oh, it's going to get even worse.
Get there.
Dia's trial was months later. She pleaded guilty as part of her plea deal. She said that she was absolutely disgusted by what she had done, and
She playing the part.
guess how many years she got?
5.
Yes.
That's what I was going to say.
She'll do 2.5.
5 years.
A whole 5. Yeah,
do
she
2.5,
basically did.
She'll get
yes.
her kids back.
Yeah. So she was set to be released 2019. She appeared before the parole board in 2018. And she claimed that she felt so guilty about the death, and apparently she did meet conditions of an early release, and so she was released on parole in October 2018.
What?
And which is obviously ridiculous. And Eric was found guilty, and he is in life in prison.
Life. Wow.
And there is the story.
She's probably still a nurse.
God, I hope not. Oh, she can't be.
Can't be.
Take
Probably
that
still
woman's
a nurse.
license away.
Oh my goodness. Good story. Good story.
Ugh.
The old Millerbergs.
The
What about their
Millerbergs.
children? Like, did they like?
I
man.
don't. It was weird. It was like there was not much background, and then there wasn't much of a after the fact.
Oh.
I'm just gonna like pretend that they are on a ranch in Wyoming with her family. That's totally normal.
That's probably where they are.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
Thank
she
you for
did
that.
go there. She did go there, but while she was awaiting her trial.
See. Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, man.
Wow. Good stuff. Good stuff. So sad.
And how Utah was it not? It was not
yeah,
Utah-ish.
No, that was more East Texas.
Yeah.
Or like Southern California. That was like.
Yeah. That was like
Yeah.
busy
That's-
city crime.
Yeah.
Quinlan,
Yes.
Texas, where meth capital of Texas. That's where that
Yes.
stuff happens.
Yeah.
Ugh.
That's crazy.
Well, and like meth is bad here, but like we have family in Michigan, they don't even hardly hear of meth. It's like heroin. So for these people, it's like they're doing both. And it's so weird to do, I guess, too hardcore, I would think. It's like you either do crack or you do heroin or you do meth or you do
Well, a lot of addicts
one,
will do
right?
anything they can get their hands on.
God.
And I saw that all the time.
okay, would it
All
be
the
like
time.
smoking weed and doing coke?
Yeah. Drinking, doing coke, meth.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Because if you like, or
Downer and upper.
well, yeah, I mean, I think that those are the two lesser of obviously meth and heroin. Maybe I mean, I don't think they're like equivalent at all, but just an analogy
yeah.
of like weed is like a relaxant, and then coke is like a not a relaxant,
Up and at it.
stimulant.
And upper, yeah.
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 Mm-mm.
No. My goodness. And it's like she was doing drugs, little Lexi. Like
But
when
I'm
you
like,
start
she just must have not had a dad because her dad was never mentioned, and no, that
at
goes when you
all?
ain't got no daddy. You
You have daddy issues. But also, like, how
Rouseman,
could
Alexis
you let your kids
Rouseman.
go to that? Like, That was the first or second time she met the dude.
I think I feel
scary.
like the mom was a single mom. The dad was gone, and she was just like
At work.
trying to like work.
Yeah.
And she just thought
the
the
best
friend
she
that
could.
she was like, okay, go babysit. That's great. Maybe she never met the people, but
Yeah.
maybe they just didn't have money, and I don't know. It just had to be
know,
something
man.
like
That's
that. To where
hard.
Yeah.
that mama had to not know, because she said Dia looks like a totally normal, like she does not have tattoos. She's like a cute little blonde hair, like she looks like a normal. Which this guy doesn't. It's not that he looks abnormal, but just the fact that you are covered in tattoos and you have the teardrop and you have the beard
teardrop.
and you just have that look of like a motorcycle
of
guy.
Anarchy.
Yeah.
He was Opie from Sons of Anarchy.
You know, it's just that stigma. You gotta.
He's probably got a second teardrop now that he's killed somebody else.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, too. He'd be crying.
Well, how'd you find this story?
I was just looking and I found it. I just came across it and I was like, oh, that looks fun.
Nice.
Twists and turns.
Yes.
Okay,
You
love
too.
it. That is it.
Love it. That is it. We definitely don't know where we're going next week.
No, we'll see. Thank y'all for coming on the podcast. Listeners, you go and you check out a Silent Witness podcast.
Please.
I want to listen to the Corsicana one. Yeah. What was her name again?
Shelley Watkins.
Shelley.
It's a 3-parter. The second part is talking about the scummy Henderson County DA.
Do we think that Leah knows about this?
She probably does.
She
We have
probably
a
is
friend in
related to
Corsicana.
it.
Ooh.
This is a very, very wealthy family in Corsicana. The crime, the body was found in Athens, Henderson County. So that's who's in charge of the investigation. But the family's from Corsicana.
Okay.
And don't want to know.
Did they kill
That's
her
what gets me.
there or dump her there in Athens?
Well, the body was weighted down with some chains and cinder blocks.
Cinder blocks and found in water.
Sweet pea.
That never
In
works.
family waters?
Found in water.
Oh, found in
That never works because as the body is decomposing, it's going to come up.
Yeah.
That's what bodies do.
Yeah,
the
gas is released.
The gas
Yeah.
in the bodies, and so it comes up, and that's what happened. But it was found on the Henderson County line, so that's where the investigation landed.
Okay, what are your thoughts on Missy Beavers?
Do you know the Missy Beavers case? There's a good cold case to
Oh, yes, I do know Missy
Midlothian.
the one in the
Camp
the-
Gladiator.
Camp Gladiator.
She was a trainer in
yeah,
the church.
yeah, in the church, and they have the video of the guy walking around. I don't know. That's a hard one because you have video of the guy, but
The person.
Is it a guy?
The person.
I think it's a guy. I mean, he walks like a guy. I think
you could fake a walk because somebody around that area had a little limpity limp because of some kind of knee surgery.
Oh yeah. That's right. But
Somebody
I
who
think
was
that-
sleeping with somebody else's husband.
yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
They should be taken out then. No.
Well, and that's and Shelley Watkins. That's the same thing. We think that there was a little tryst thing
Little
going.
side
I got some
piece.
major information about an hour before we were coming to record it, and so I'm frazzled at the last part of it from an insider.
Wow.
Juicy.
Yeah, anonymous source that
Oh.
helped me out.
So that's
Yep.
a good motive.
We need to get an anonymous source
Right?
for Missy Beavers. Like somebody has to know. The hitman. The hitman knows.
They know who. They probably have an idea who it is.
Just no
Evidence.
evidence.
In most of these cases that are cold cases, 99.9% of them, they know who did it. They have major suspects in it, but they just don't have the
Well, and like
And
the one
usually
we
the
did that's
town
here.
knows. Usually the town knows.
No,
like
no,
you
no.
go to the town
That's
folk.
why we named it Silent Witness, is because somebody knows something. And that's just like our very first one, the one that happened in Waco, Dalen. They knew who did it. Mom and sister knew who did it. And, happened over at Mr. Magoo's.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a
The
lack
bar.
of evidence, and people just can't move
The
forward with it.
rats ate the camera video, I mean, it's the whole thing. But they know who, it's just, and there were tons of witnesses.
Okay,
Right.
so like, did you listen to like My Own Backyard with the Kristen Smart, and like he like went and basically solved the case by going in and bringing back that cold case. It was from like years and years, Kristen Smart, years and years and years ago. And he started doing he just did a whole podcast series just on that one case.
Oh, wow.
But this is many cases. Like, y'all cover many, each episode is a different one, or you go and you focus on one case throughout several episodes?
Well, with Shelley, it was 3, and we got Marianne Wilkinson that's coming up, and that ended up being 2.
2,
But you don't actively do, like, you don't, like, stay on one case until you've...
No.
You'll kind of do multiple cases.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're putting them all out there. We need our gang member too. We need them, somebody like that, to come forward and be like, yes, I do know what's up. Here's what's happening.
And
we need those
we will
people.
go and update them if there's an
Oh,
update.
heck yeah.
But, again, it's so new. Ours is so new, It's just...
Interesting. That's a good one.
And I want to do more Waco, Central Texas cases, but... it's hard.
Yeah.
Family's not going to respond. I don't know why. I wish they would.
We did the Lake Waco murders.
Oh, we talked about that.
I did have some people from Waco asking about some cases, like some unsolved ones.
Really?
For us to look into it, but it was so long ago that if I can come across them, I'll share it.
And the victims, so the 2 girls, it was the 2 girls and Kenneth, one of the family members reached out to us afterwards and said, thank you. She says, thank you for covering the full case from beginning to end, and not just the book, because the book was written very one-sided. And basically they don't think the people who, like David Wayne Spence and the Melendez brothers, the family does not think that is who actually killed them. But the investigators at the time thought they were good for it.
Yeah.
There was really no evidence saying that they did. And so the mom is probably about to die not really knowing who killed their
How do you
daughter.
go? How does the family know more than, like, well, you said earlier, a family typically knows more than, like, the police, or they just...
Well, the police aren't, if it's an open case, the police can't tell.
Right.
And the
family gets pissed. I mean, most of the time, I'm thinking of, like, the Idaho case, like Kaylee's parents are just, like, so angry because they're not getting any information from the police, but the police can't give because you don't want to mess up your case.
Right.
But then they feel like they know so much more, but, like, how are they getting the information?
The streets. With Dalen's
like the
case,
community knows.
the community knows. There were so many witnesses. His friends took him to the hospital and saw him get shot at Mr. Magoo's, and but they're not gonna go tell the police.
Well, why not?
Because that's not the streets.
Yeah.
This is the streets.
It's ingrained. That's how they work.
That's the same with
Dravion
Booker's case. His is unsolved. The one I was telling y'all about before we started, that his brother was the initial target. Dravion put on his brother's jacket to go get something for his grandma down the street, and this is literally down the street from Mr. Magoo's. Same street. You could see it from Magoo's when I went there.
Ruby.
And he got shot and killed, Dravion did. And then the brother was the target because the brother was a gang member, and it was a gang hit.
Oh, yeah.
The brother was just now recently arrested because he's immediately started doing drive-bys to retaliation. That's how the streets handle it.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, Dravion's killer has not been arrested because the streets aren't going to... Because they're going to take care of it in their way, and that's what gangs do.
Yeah.
Or he's got too much of a hold, and so nobody wants to go up against him, I think, too.
I just think in Dravion's particular case, that's the streets. The brother's gonna handle it. They're gonna handle it. That's how it's gonna happen. And everybody knows who killed Dravion. I had students when I was talking about it. I had students tell me, we know who did it. We streets know.
Yeah.
That's I think they all know.
And I think it's just that the families, and with Dalen, that's who told me the story was the family. That's who's told me the story throughout. Except for Shelley Watkins, they don't want it really solved.
Talk about it.
Yeah, yeah.
Because Dad...
crooked.
100%. 100% crooked. And,
Crazy.
so
Right.
that's why I like to speak to the families, because that's who knows.
Yeah.
And the police
so-
can't. And Waco police has probably been the best at helping me, but they still can't tell me everything.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, so if you know anything about any kind of missing persons or cold cases, and you're the family,
Contact.
us.
Silent Witness Podcast. Do you have a Facebook?
Them. You can tell. You can message us.
Yeah, message
you can,
us.
and we'll-
message whoever. It's at Silent Witness TX.
Wow.
Silent Witness TX.
Email.
Email.
Silent Witness Waco at Gmail, please. If you're a family, I've contacted a lot of the unsolved cases families here in the Waco area, and like I was telling y'all, they get mad. Not the family itself, but others around get mad, and so it's been frustrating.
Yeah.
But,
Okay.
it happens.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah. Doing good work.
Thank
All
you for
right.
having us.
Oh,
Yes.
absolutely.
No problem. Thanks for coming.
This
It's
is good.
fun.
Okay. We'll see y'all next week. Don't forget to
Stay aware.
stay alive.
And always be DTF.
Down to find the murderer. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production.
Hey there, golf lovers. Looking to step up your game? Let me tell you about Mollybox, the ultimate golf subscription box. Every month, Mollybox sends you a box packed with premium golf gear, accessories, and stylish apparel, all delivered right to your door. Imagine getting top-tier apparel and more, all handpicked just for you. With Mollybox, you'll stay ahead of the game and boost your performance. It's like having a personal caddy in a box. So why wait? Join the Mollybox family today. Head over to mollybox.com and use your limited time promo code ROGUE25, ROGUE, ROGUE 25 for 25% off your first box. That's mollybox.com.